long time ago, in the time before anyone alive can remember, there was a star. She was small, smaller than all the stars around her, but she burned with the brightest and warmest light of all. Her name was Lumi, and every night Lumi did what all stars do. She stayed in her place in the sky, and she shone her light down onto the earth below. She watched the rivers and the forests and the villages. She watched the animals sleep, and the rivers move, and the trees breathe, slowly in the night wind, and she was happy doing this, most of the time, but sometimes, on very quiet nights, when the other stars were not paying attention, Lumi would lean forward just a little bit and look down at the earth below, and she would see something that made her chest feel strange and warm. She would see children sleeping, small, soft bundles in their beds, in their huts, in their rooms, with their eyes closed and their breathing slow and their faces completely at peace. And Lumi would think, what is that feeling? What is that thing they do where they close their eyes and go somewhere else entirely? One night, the feeling became too much to bear. Lumi decided she had to know. She waited until the sky was at its very darkest, that deep blue hour just before the first pale light of morning. Then very carefully, she loosened herself from her place in the sky, and she fell, not fast and frightening like a shooting star, but slow, the way a feather falls, turning gently in the air as the earth rose up to meet her. She landed in a village, in the courtyard outside a small house, in a square of moonlight on the ground. She was no longer a burning ball of fire. She had become, somehow, a small girl. She had bare feet and wide, curious eyes, the color of deep water. She stood in the courtyard and felt things she had never felt before. The ground was cool and solid under her feet. The air had a smell, earth and flowers, and something cooking from somewhere far away. Lumi took a step, then another. The earth felt strange and wonderful beneath her bare feet. Cool in some places, warm in others, soft where grass grew between the stones. She walked slowly across the courtyard, her eyes wide with wonder at everything she saw. A small lizard darted across her path and disappeared into a crack in the wall. She smiled. She had never seen a lizard before. She had never seen anything that moved on its own, so quick and sure and alive. She reached out and touched the wall of the house. It was rough and warm, baked by the sun all day long. She pressed her palm flat against it and felt the warmth seep into her skin. It reminded her of home, of the sky, of the gentle heat she had always known. But this was different. This was solid. This was real. She could push against it and it pushed back. She walked on, past a clay pot filled with rainwater that reflected the moon like a tiny sky, past a sleeping chicken tucked under a wooden bench, its feathers puffed and still, past a tree with leaves that rustled softly even though there was almost no wind. Everything was so quiet, so still, so full of peace. She walked to the edge of the courtyard and looked down a narrow path between two houses. There were more houses beyond, their windows dark, their doors closed, everyone inside asleep. She could feel it. The whole village was resting, breathing together in the dark. She turned and walked back toward the house where she had landed, and that was when she saw it, a soft golden light glowing from a small window, not bright like her own starlight, not sharp or demanding, just warm and gentle, like a whisper in the dark. She walked toward it, quietly, carefully, as if the sound of her footsteps might break something precious. She reached the doorway and looked inside, and there, on a simple mat on the floor, was a child sleeping, a small girl about her own size, with one hand curled under her cheek, and her breathing so slow and steady. It was like a song. Her face was completely relaxed, her lips slightly parted, her eyelids fluttering now and then as dreams moved behind them. Lumi stood in the doorway for a long time, watching. She felt something she had no word for, something warm that started in her chest and spread outward to her fingertips. It was like her own light, but different, deeper, quieter, more tender than anything she had ever known. She wanted to be closer. She wanted to understand. She stepped inside.
I want to do that. I want to know what that feels like. To close your eyes and trust the world completely. To go somewhere safe inside yourself and rest. To let go of everything and simply be here, in this quiet place, with this quiet heart.
She lay down on the ground near the sleeping child. The earth was cool beneath her. The air moved softly, carrying the scent of jasmine from somewhere nearby. Far away, a night bird called once and went quiet. And for the first time in all the millions of years she had existed, Lumi rested. She did not shine. She did not watch. She did not wonder or long or reach for anything at all. She simply was. Her breathing slowed. Her body softened. Her mind grew quiet like a pond at dawn. And something in her that had been quietly, invisibly tight for a very long time, let go. It was like a knot unraveling, like a fist opening, like the first drop of rain after a long dry season. She felt herself sinking into the earth, becoming part of it, held by it, cradled by it. The moonlight fell across her face. The stars she had left behind still watched from above, still shone their silver light down upon her. She was not alone. She had never been alone. She was part of everything, the earth, the sky, the sleeping child beside her, the village breathing all around her, all of it connected, all of it at peace. When morning came, she felt it first in her chest, a gentle pull, like a string tied around her heart, tugging upward, soft at first, then stronger, insistent but kind. She opened her eyes. The village was still quiet. The sleeping child had not moved. The first pale light of dawn touched the rooftops and turned them pink and gold. Lumi rose, slowly at first, then faster, lighter, until she was floating above the courtyard, above the village, above the trees and the rivers and the forests she had watched for so long. She rose back into her place among the stars, settling in like a bird returning to its nest. By the time the sun came up, nobody in the village knew she had been there. Nobody except perhaps the sleeping child, who woke that morning with a strange feeling, a warmth in her chest that she could not explain, as though she had been kept company all night long by something kind and luminous. And from that day forward, that child slept more peacefully than she ever had before, because somewhere in her dreams, she remembered being watched over. She remembered being safe. Lumi is still up there tonight, shining, watching, keeping gentle guard over every sleeping child below. She is watching over your home right now. She is watching over your bed. Close your eyes now. You are safe. You are loved. The night is gentle. The stars are near. And Lumi is shining just for you. If this story helped you rest tonight, subscribe to Dreamtime Stories. A brand new bedtime story drops every single night. Like this video, share it with a child you love, and sleep well tonight. Good night.